President expresses condolences in Parliament over the passing of late Minister MKADS Gunawardena. Military intelligence officer suspected of assaulting senior journalist Upali Tennakon identified in an identification parade. Government increases diesel production tax, no change in diesel prices. Theory of ransom demand gone wrong is an attempt to mislead the investigations over the murder of the Bambalapitiya businessman. A statement from the police.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Prime Time News. You're watching us live on TV1 and Shakti TV. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
I'm Saturanga Aparachi. Let's take a look at the stories in detail.
A vote of condolence was held in Parliament in tribute of late Minister MKADS Gunawardena. President Maithripala Sirisena arrived in Parliament today to convey his condolences.
We all left the government together. He dedicated himself immensely to ensure my victory during the presidential election. He entered Parliament through the National List after he represented the United National Front. However, despite all of it, he did not remove the blue shawl around his neck. We even made fun of it, saying that he won't be able to sport the blue shawl anymore as he represented the United National Party at the time. But he made it very clear that he will not remove it at any cost. He functioned and had a mindset that he was part of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Not only did he speak about the people of the country in Parliament, he interacted with everyone, including officers of the police who held small portfolios.
He faced a number of issues when he functioned under the previous government. On a number of occasions, he spoke to me in Parliament about how the path that they had taken had no support of the people. Minister MKADS Gunawardena was one of the most significant people who stood by President Maithripala Sirisena when he announced that he will run as the common candidate.
When he got into my vehicle, I vaguely asked him as to what he thinks about the government at the time. Responding to the question, he stated that he is going wary of the government. Then, when I asked him whether we should take a political decision, he asked whether something like that was in the pipeline, and I replied that I am ready to leave. He was quick to tell me that he was looking for another step out together and said, "Doctor, I am ready to get out before you." He joined hands with us with no frustration, with no hesitation and a steady mind. He was a very nice person and a friend who interacted with people in a beautiful way.
When the presidential elections in 2015 came about, and when there was the split in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, and when President they walked out of the SLP government, Mr. Gunawardena was one of those members of Parliament of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party who walked out with him and who supported him at that election. I think Mr. Gunawardena was guided by certain principles when he took that decision. There was no guarantee that Mr. Maithripala Sirisena would be the winner. Mr. Gunawardena was holding a position already as member of Parliament in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party under the former government, and there was an element of risk in that decision he took. But he nevertheless took that decision because I think he realized, as many of us did, that the country was moving towards a dictatorship. People felt excluded. There was inequality. There was injustice. And it was also in that background that Mr. Gunawardena himself took a bold decision to abandon his party and come out and oppose the candidate of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party at that point of time, Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Parliament today over a statement made by the Prime Minister over the resignation of a group of employees of the Treasury.
Employees of the Finance Ministry stepped down from positions in public enterprises. This is a direct impact to the operations of these institutes. In addition, people who were granted honorary positions or individuals who were retained as specialists have also been summoned before the FCID and are being imprisoned.
Those officials have stepped down from their posts. If they have stepped down, there is no point putting them. They have provided reasons as to why they resigned. They say they are scared. If they are scared, there is no chance that they would go back. There was one official in the Treasury who was in the Sri Lankan Airlines. What has happened to Sri Lankan Airlines at present? Another official was in the port. If there is someone who did something wrong, the law has to be implemented. What did the officers at the Tourism Board do? They signed a deal with the trade union of the Welfare Society of the Tourism Board stating that it was to boost internal tourism. What will happen if we tell the Welfare Society of the Parliament to write the history of the Parliament? That money did not go there, it was used up for the Uber Provincial Council elections. If they make such a big noise and tell that they will not come to work, then let someone else do that job. There are enough and more people in our party who are willing to fill up those vacancies. I received phone calls yesterday and the day before as well.
The Treasury agent cannot control it because he is not the chairman there. He has informed that he cannot work because he was called to be responsible. He says that those responsible need to be removed.
They resigned of their own accord.
People are arrested from the private sector as well as the government sector.
If those officials reported it to the Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, and if the Minister and Secretary to the Ministry of Finance looked into this, these officials would not be in trouble. Those in the private sector are my friends. There is one individual from my ministry. There was a person who was caught from the Prime Minister's office. Who told you to approve it? I too tried to help those people. This was a decision given by the court. We will bring a new law that they should work under the Parliament under a public enterprise board. That ministry has not done anything. If you go and check today, it's disappointing. Why should the people pay like this?
An awareness program regarding the upcoming 65th convention of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was held in Kurunegala today under the auspices of the General Secretary of the UPFA Minister Mahinda Amaravira.
Prior to participating in the awareness program, the minister engaged in an inspection tour of the Malika Pite in Kurunegala, where the SLFP convention is to be held.
Most people in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party have no intention of splitting the party. Over 95% of the SLFP members share this view. You and I are the people who worked for the former president. However, it is the group that is responsible for his defeat that is making the decisions today. The journey that was started by the JVP and the UNP, saying that there is an economic assassin, that the country is controlled by 3 people of the same family, and that large commissions are being solicited from large-scale projects, led us to where we are today. It caused a great deal of harm to us. The next thing that they do is to say that the door of the cage has been left open and send everyone out. They then come and conduct media briefings individually.
The General Secretary pointed out that the no-confidence motion should have been brought against Ranil Wickremesinghe instead of Ravi Karunanika.
A no-confidence motion was brought against Ravi Karunanika. Then again, we will have to move on to 2 different parts. With relation to the central bank governors incident, we should have brought the no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister, not Ravi Karunanika. But the no-confidence motion was brought with the full knowledge that it will be defeated. Then a march was commenced. We met our own people. They even told the President that this march is not against the President or the party and that it was organized against the United National Party. But after the commencement of the march, you saw what the slogans were. Therefore, a situation arose where certain decisions had to be taken. But we said that we will make one final attempt. In our final attempt, we met these ministers in Parliament and told them that we have no intention to split the party. We will hold discussions in the future too. We can settle this internally. Our issues become complicated when external parties involve themselves. If someone is unable to come, it might be a sickness, they might be overseas. We will not stand with a stick in hand to punch them for it.
The General Secretary also commented on the actions of several local government politicians.
At the next elections, the SLFPers at the grassroots levels will decide the fate of this group who is attempting to split the party by tearing invitational letters. It is the group that is attempting to split the party that goes around tearing letters, publicly insulting and criticizing the party and its leaders. If this hand can be torn apart, or if this hand can be burnt, then that person is not a true SLFPer. There is no room for such rogues in the SLFP.
The Newsfirst Gammadda 100 Days initiative continues to fulfill the aspirations of Sri Lankans who live amidst various hardships.
Today, day 38 of this initiative, we commenced another project, accepting the responsibility of fulfilling broken promises.
Gum at the 100 days. For over a year, the main culvert of the road in the Kinakatia village in Atkandura Alpitia Gaul had been in a dilapidated state. The dilapidated state of this culvert has caused frustration in the minds of people of 150 families in the area. The Newsfirst, Gum at the crew which took over the responsibility of bringing hope to the people in the area, took measures to construct the culvert.
Contribute to this project in any way you can. Someday you will look back with pride and say that I helped renovate this road. I would like to say that News First will remain with the public at all times.
News First samada janataව සමග සිටින වග මේ මොහොතේ මා ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
ඇත්තටම අපිට ඕනේ ලංකාවේ වෙනසක් කරන්න.
We want to make a change in Sri Lanka and we cannot do it all by ourselves. For that, we need your support. We will only be able to continue this journey if you join us.
The construction work of the culvert commenced under the auspices of the members of Newsfirst and state officials.
We as state officials appreciate and are grateful to this initiative because they go to rural villages, identify the struggles of the people and render this service to the country by going beyond their limits as a media network.
The financial aid required to complete the project was officially handed over, and the Newsfirst team also promised the locals in the area to complete the construction activities within a period of 1 week. Under the Newsfirst Gum at the 100 Days initiative, the Gum at the Savia Society was also established in the village. Due to the improper maintenance of the Utsana bridge in Galevilla, many lives in the area were left in distress.
People have fallen into this. We had to use ropes to bring them back up. We send our children to school with fear because we don't know when it will rain again. Because when it floods, we have to struggle to bring them back from school.
Newsfirst could not remain silent over this aggravating issue, and that is why, under the Gum at the 100 Days program, the renovation of this bridge will commence tomorrow. The Gum at the 100 Days initiative that commenced with the people, for the people, will continue to move forward. Gum at the 100 Days.
On to our developing story this evening. Police says that the theories surrounding the murder of the millionaire businessman from Bambalapitia, citing that it was a ransom demand gone wrong, is an attempt to mislead the investigations.
Millionaire businessman Mohammed Suleiman was abducted on the 21st from Bambalapitia and his body was found in Mavanalla on Wednesday. Yesterday, court banned the overseas travel of 5 persons believed to be connected to the murder. Police said that the suspects are relatives of the deceased victim on his maternal side. The post-mortem conducted yesterday had revealed that Suleiman had died due to blunt force trauma to the head, roughly 4 hours after he was abducted. Statements from over 50 persons, including Suleiman's employees and relatives, were recorded by police. Police also notes that Suleiman owed over 60 million rupees to various persons.
Friday Forum says that the euphoria among the public on good governance was short-lived.
The Friday Forum, commenting on the actions of the Good Governance government, notes that siblings were appointed soon enough to officers of high profit. Friends were appointed to high officers of state whose misdemeanors and abuse of office were overlooked with ease, and advice was sought from among friends and colleagues who were too ready to satisfy the prejudices of leaders. It adds that large investment projects whose feasibility had been seriously questioned when initiated during the previous administration have been renegotiated, ignoring consultation with the people. It is the latter who will suffer the ill effects of poorly thought out project activities. It further adds that political exigencies have installed a large number of ministries, wasting substantial amounts of public funds, making it absolutely necessary to establish working mechanisms for coordination among them, adding that their absence is glaringly evident. The Friday Forum says that under the present government, quick fixes were sought to problems whose solutions required wide consultation with all stakeholders. It goes on to note that these problems have been aggravated by far too generous additional payments to public sector employees and wholly ill-deserving and overly generous perquisites to members of parliament. The Friday Forum says that the sooner government seeks solutions to these problems, the sooner is the public likely to see some fruits of Yahapalanya delivered to it. In conclusion, the Friday Forum says that steps of the new government towards Yahapalanya are much to be commended, however that it has faltered in several areas is cause for deep concern. The Friday Forum urges the government to redouble its effort and the public to continue to keep permanent vigil and raise their voice to keep the march to Yahapalanya on course.
An expectant mother was found murdered inside a house in Singhapura, Trincomalee. The Trincomalee police found the body following a tip-off. The victim was a 19-year-old expectant mother from Ambalangoda. Police suspect that the victim's husband had committed the murder and had fled the area, and operations have been launched to track the suspect. The suspect, also 19 years of age, was employed at a private establishment and was a resident of Kalavana, Ratnapura. Our correspondent reported that the couple had rented the house in Singhapura, Trincomalee over 2 months ago.
A fire that broke out at a factory in Pattaya Junction in Paliagoda completely destroyed the premises.
The fire broke out at 2 this afternoon at a polythene manufacturing plant. 5 fire trucks from the Colombo Fire Services Department were dispatched to douse the fire. According to the police, a transformer located adjacent to the location was also damaged. Our correspondent said that no casualties were reported. Investigations are underway to ascertain the cause of the fire. Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, the Minister for Regional Development, arrived at the site when fire broke out.
The activities carried out by the factory here was illegal. It definitely caused damage to the environment as well as the lives of the people. But in the past, this must have taken place with someone's influence. Now we will have to look into this matter legally.
The government has increased the production tax on diesel. In a communique issued by the Ministry of Finance, the production tax on a litre of diesel, which stood at 3 rupees, has been increased by 10 rupees per litre. The tax increase comes into effect from the 20th of August. However, the Ministry of Finance states that this tax amendment will not affect selling price of a litre of diesel. The communique further states that the tax amendment was implemented in order for the government to benefit from the fall of prices of crude oil in the global market.
Meanwhile, the member of the Army Intelligence Unit who allegedly assaulted senior journalist Upali Tennakon was identified during an identification parade held today. The suspect was identified by Upali Tennakon and his wife.
Gampaha Additional Magistrate Lalit Kannangara ordered that the suspect be further remanded until the 29th of August. The suspect is also a suspect in connection with the assassination of veteran journalist Lasantha Vikramatunga.
The assault took place in 2009. However, no action was taken before. Now fresh investigations have commenced. The CID has made a request asking me to help in the investigations. That is why I came here. There was an identification parade held today, and if my memory serves me right, I was able to identify the suspect.
Do you think the threat you had before still exists today?
I do not think I am still exposed to such threats, especially from the government. However, I do have a suspicion there were 4 individuals who assaulted me. Some of them are still roaming in the open. It is not the people who assaulted me who are the problem. Why did they assault me, and who ordered them to do so? That is the problem I have.
Upali Tennakon was assaulted on the 23rd of January 2009 in Imbulgoda, Gampaha. A group who arrived on 2 motorcycles had carried out the assault on Tennakon and his wife. The vehicle the couple were travelling in was also damaged in the attack. Daisy Forrest appeared before the Colombo Magistrates Court today. Daisy Forrest, who is the grandmother of Yoshita Rajapaksa, appeared in court in connection with the investigations being carried out over a plot of land in the Mount Lavinia area. The case that was taken up today before Colombo Additional Magistrate Augusta Atapattu cites that even though Daisy Forrest had been summoned to the police FCID on a number of occasions, she had failed to do so. President's counsel Jayant Veerasinghe, appearing on behalf of the defendant, stated that since his client is in a feeble state, she would go to the police FCID on the 31st of this month and provide the statement. Thereby, Daisy Forrest was released on a personal bond.
She was brought to court in order to make her appear before the FCID regarding a land issue. In court, a date was agreed upon for her to appear before the FCID.
Property of the CSN is being taken over continuously. What do you have to say about this?
I cannot think anything about it since I am not involved in it.
Meanwhile, the charges filed against parliamentarian Hirunika Premachandra and 8 others over the kidnapping of an individual has been directed from the Colombo Magistrates Court to the High Courts. MP Hirunika Premachandra and the other defendants were ordered to appear before Colombo Additional Magistrate Mohammed Mihar to be informed in this regard. In court, the defendants were informed that the examination of the case at the Magistrates Court had been concluded and that the case had now been directed to the Colombo High Court.
The pressure will be upon us. That means if we have committed a certain wrong and we are proved guilty in courts, then we will be punished. That is a good thing.
Senior local news. Construct Exhibition 2016 kicked off today at the Bandaranayake Memorial International Conference Hall under the auspices of Minister Sajith Premadasa.
Organised by the National Construction Association of Sri Lanka for the 16th consecutive year, the event was graced by a number of ministers including Akhila Viraj Karyavasam, Susil Premachandra, Wajir Abewardena and Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca.
Many people asked me, why did I go to Norelia and Badulla? I gave them an answer, to provide financial aid to construct houses for 900 families in Norelia and 1,400 families in the Badulla district. Then they asked me, why did I use a helicopter from a private company? Under the government of good governance, the President and the Prime Minister have said that only the first and second citizens can use the helicopters that are owned by the government and the armed forces. We spoke to Daya Gamage and went in a single-engine helicopter. They asked me, isn't it dangerous to travel in a single-engine helicopter? Is it not a risk? However, the example I said is this. We used Daya Gamage's helicopters because of good governance. I could have ordered a Bell 212 or a Bell 412 or an MI-17. I could have told the secretary to make the payments.
ලේකම්තුමියට කියන්න ගෙවල් හදන්න තියෙන සල්ලි වලින් බිල ගෙවන්න මටත් කියන්න තිබුණා විශේෂයෙන්ම අද ලෝකයේ
Rising global temperatures and the constant changes in the climate have become international concerns. This causes floods, earthquakes or other natural disasters. Therefore, the construction sector must face these challenges.
එමනම් අද ඉදිකිරීම් ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ මෙන්න මේ අභියෝගයටත් මුහුණ දෙන්න සූදානම් වෙන්න අවශ්‍යයි.
දැන් අපිට The major challenge that we face in this sector is the lack of human resources. That is the number one challenge. We need to change the regulations. Either we have to import foreign labor, if not, we will never be able to move forward compared to the other nations in the world.
The 3-day exhibition will conclude on Sunday.
Minister of State for External Affairs in India, V.K. Singh, who is on an official visit to the country, toured the Galle area today.
The visiting Indian minister arrived at the Galle Police Superintendent's office to inspect the ambulance service provided to Sri Lanka under the sponsorship of the Indian government.
These ambulances are something which will provide speedy care, and all the people who have been trained to handle emergencies and to ensure that the patient reaches in the shortest possible time. I've learned that there are some issues with the health union, but I'm quite sure given the dynamism of our minister, they will be able to sort these issues out. Whenever a new program comes anywhere, there is always a little resistance. But then this is a gift, and I'm sure a gift will be utilized in a manner in which it actually benefits the common people.
According to reports we have received, these ambulances arrive within 12 minutes of the time the call is made stating that there is an emergency. We are extremely happy that we will be able to save so many lives through this initiative. We hope to expand this service in the district of Colombo, Galle and Kalutara within the next 2 weeks. 1990 is a completely free service. There is no need to make any payment.
Motorbicycle. Well, Stephanie, when was the last time you watched a Sinhalese movie?
Well, Chaturanga, coincidentally enough, it was recently.
That's good for you, Stephanie. The footage you just witnessed is from the latest movie to hit the silver screen in Sri Lanka.
Motorcycle, which is currently being screened at the Colombo Regal Theatre. The premiere of the movie was held this evening.
Motorcycle is the maiden cinema creation of director Shamira Rangana. The movie is centered around love, shattered dreams, thrills and many more. Based on the youth dream of a motorcycle, the movie depicts the love story of a youth from the slums aspiring to become the next superstar and a girl from the middle class society. The lead stars of the film Motorcycle includes Veena Jayakodi, Mahendra Pereira, Samanali Fonseca and Dasun Patirana. The film won the award for South Asia's Best at the 2015 SARC Film Festival and also won the Mosaic of Sri Lankan New Film at the Colombo International Film Festival. The film also won Best Picture at the 21st Kolkata International Film Festival.
A seminar on early childhood development took place this morning in Jaffna.
The event, which took place at the Jaffna Education Office, was organized by the Stepping Stones Montessori. The aim of the seminar was to meet preschool teachers in the area, understand the shortcomings that they face and train them in order to update them on the latest preschool teaching methods. 2 more workshops have been scheduled to be held in Galle and Colombo.
Purpose of these workshops and these discussions have been, as preschool teachers, we realize there is a great need for change in the system, change to our trainings, and basically to work towards getting more recognition to the early childhood sector. And to do that, we realize that we have to upgrade our schools, upgrade the teachers, their knowledge, and Stepping Stones Foundation has decided to take this great challenge.
We have to support children so they become constant learners. And so part of my mission in this project is to help us to provide that great support for children in creating environments for children where they just love learning. They just want to find out about the world, and just as importantly, they want to be active participants in it. They want to contribute to their community.
Well, that's a wrap for Primetime News. Remember to stay ahead. You need to stay close to News First. For that, you simply need to log on to our website www.Newsfirst.lk.
You can also follow us on the username at Newsfirst.SL.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
I'm Chaturanga Huarachi. Take care and good night.